Oh, there you go. All right. Hey, everybody. So let's be real for a sec. AI, it isn't coming for our jobs. It's already sitting right next to us. We're all
Mhm.
using something like ChatGPT, Midjourney, Notion, Trello, just to keep our heads above water. But here's the real question. When the tech starts doing what we used to be praised for, what's left for us? If the AI can send an email, can make a presentation, can even summarize our meetings, which is a plus, what do we even bring to the table? That's where leadership gets real because the future of work isn't man versus machine, it's man with machine. Or for us, woman with machine. And
Hello.
our value is still there. So Cynthia, let's go ahead and get into this month's topic, what we're going to be talking about.
Absolutely. So it's part two of our series. And today in November, we're talking about rebuild your edge. Will upskilling keep you ahead of AI? And like you said, let's be honest, our cube mate next door to us in the workplace is becoming more and more like AI. We have chat bots next to us. So the question that
Mhm.
we have to ask ourselves, what does it take to stay relevant when the rules just keep changing? We're in a very fast-paced society, and AI feels like it's redefining how we work, how we see ourselves in the workplace. And yes, there's a lot of excitement around AI. We have leaders who are getting really hype about what can we do to be more strategic? What can we do to transform how we do business? What can we do different to really incorporate artificial intelligence in our work and how we work? But that excitement, it kind of creeps into our human nature of, okay, well, what about me? What about me? If you're going to do all this stuff with technology, where does that leave me, the human being in corporate America? And so that's what we're really going to dive into today and pull on the thread of our series, working through it. And here we are in November, and it is time to figure out how you rebuild your edge. So let's dive into the
Mhm.
topic, Candace. I think the first thing we want to talk about that I think is near and dear to me is that confidence gap. Meaning
Mhm.
there's AI that's triggering. It sounds exciting because I don't know about you, but I use chat regularly. And I'm thinking about AI even in my current, my day job. But at the same token, I'm thinking 3 years from now, what's going to happen? Am I going to be left on the sideline, or how do I keep up? So I
Mhm.
really have to start thinking, that age old question of where do you see yourself in 5 years? It's like, well, where do you see yourself in 2 to 3 years
Mhm.
in alignment with how we're evolving from a technology perspective? What are your thoughts on the whole confidence gap as we're, referring to it?
Yeah, I would agree with that because I want to say even studies show that 7 out of 10 people fear that AI is going to affect their job, and come
Hmm.
and come and impact their job. And so for me, I I don't know. I found myself sneaking, like I use it, but I found myself sneaking to use it.
I
Like
love that you
I don't
say
want
that.
people to know, because it's like right now in the retail world, being there, like ChatGPT, Claude, all of that is approved tools to use.
Hmm.
However, when it comes to answering surveys, coming to Workday, having to put in PCs, PIPs, and stuff like that, performance conversations, performance improvement plans. When it comes to putting that stuff, it's like, all right, I can just copy paste, boom, boom. All right, let me look at it, and then put it in there. And so for me, the confidence gap is not really huge because I see it more
Hmm.
beneficial to help me with those tasks that we constantly have to do all the time, especially when you're in leadership, having to notate and then put things
Hmm.
into the system to make sure, like, those tasks are coming a little bit more efficient for me using AI. But I'll be honest, I still feel like, oh, I don't want nobody to know I'm using it to make my job a little easier.
I love how you put that spin on it, because it's a real thing. And you highlighted a little bit of a generational confidence gap also, I think, where um, that's the premise of our fireside chat here around our generations and how things differ as well. And your level of confidence is likely different than the level of confidence of someone who's in my category. I'm Gen X, right? Yeah, I'm Gen X. So I always forget that's a telltale sign. But anyway, it is because I think in my world, what I'll say is, and this might resonate actually, the fear of how it shows up. Like, yes, everybody's talking about using chat or using other tools to be more efficient. But dare you use that little long dash in a post? It's like, she didn't write that. ChatGPT wrote that. While it may be so, there's still a lot that goes into it. Even if you're I use it for my business, I use it for other things, and it still requires thought because it's only going to put out what you put in, right? Or based off what you put in. And it's a tool, just like any other learning tool or supporting platform. It's a tool, and you're still using that critical thinking skills. And I think that, as we looked at some of the studies as well, 65% of executives rank adaptability and emotional intelligence as the most critical skills of the next decade, right? And so thinking about that in itself, that can help us close that gap if we start to understand what are those skills that are really going to give me that edge. Instead of saying, what if I'm no longer available? Maybe it's, well, what are they looking for? What's current in the market right now? What can I do that won't make me feel shame about how I use Chat GPT or other AI platforms? So instead of thinking about it taking our edge, how can we think about it and see it as a value add and benefit?
Yeah, and I think you touched on something so keen is the generation, because Gen X, you guys are used to the traditional way. Climbing the ladders, paying your dues, showing loyalty, and now all of a sudden everything is digital. That's what it feels. Everything is really digital, and so those rules don't necessarily apply anymore. And then for me, being a millennial, we came up through the tech boom when the internet started coming. We were told that we need to adapt fast, stay ready, get ready, always stay ahead. But now it just, even with me, AI is moving so fast. It's not like it's not like how the internet, how we gradually were able to learn it. It's like every single day is something new. Generative AI, this type of AI. How is it going to impact? It's just so much that we're expected to know it all, and also to lead others through it. And sometimes it really is about true leadership. When you get into leadership, you are leading people without guidance. And that is how AI to me feels at times, depending on what it is.
Yeah. I agree with you on that. No, keep going.
I was gonna sit there and say, like, one person that, and I know he's not really in corporate setting, but like Mark Cuban, he said something very pivotal. It was some podcast I was listening to, and he was like, you should be learning AI every single day. That sounds, to me, that sounds very overwhelming. Like, to sit there and to learn it every single day. However, he's like, that's how quickly it's moving. But what were you going to say?
So let's talk about that though, because just hearing that statement, if anyone's listening, one, drop in the chat if you have taken an AI course or if you have obtained any type of certification or additional learning. Share with us what you're doing and how you've mastered that or are mastering it. I'd be curious to see. But meanwhile, just hearing that statement alone can feel very overwhelming, right? And it's like, okay, do I have to learn everything new about it? Or how can I leverage the skills that I have? Begin to upskill. What do I need to learn next so that I stay relevant? I don't need to learn how to code, because I can tell you, Cynthia is not going to learn how to code a custom GPT. But what I will learn is how to apply my critical thinking skills, my analytical skills, my strategic thought perspective, and how to incorporate AI into transformation efforts, right? And so it's asking yourself, okay, yeah, what should I learn? But what's going to help me to evolve? What's going to help me do my job better? What's going to help me solve problems quicker by learning and understanding artificial intelligence? So there's that balancing act. I think it's a fine line between jumping on the train and trying to do everything, learn everything, versus pressing the pause button and say, okay, for what I'm doing or for what I want to do in my career, what's going to give me that edge? Where do I need to really put my focus and energy? Or how can I take what I have and now fold it into this new evolution of technology? Kind of ease up the whole anxiety around it, right?
Yeah. And I think that kind of moves on into like the next thing that we were talking about is like upskilling. Like what does that even look like in 2025? Because it's to sit there and say that you have to learn everything. Like learning everything is not going to save you.
Right.
However, learning what's useful for what's next is. So whatever but you have to know what your next is. I can't tell you what your next, even from a manager standpoint, for all my first time leaders, people that are in leadership that are afraid, that is a part of that 7 out of 10 that I talked about earlier. When it comes to AI, your conversations, your one-on-ones, you have to start shifting them. You have to start figuring out, okay, what is your person's next if they don't know what their next is. And also too, the ownership on the employee to figure out, okay, what is my next? Like, look at my position right now. We can sit there. I remember in the call center world, that was huge part of my leadership journey, being in the call center world and even seeing certain things change over the years. However, how many real people are we going to have? Because we already see it now. We call a phone number, who we get? I gotta push 1. I gotta push 0.
And automation, the voice. Yes. I gotta talk to a robot.
You gotta talk to a robot. Even when it comes to chatting, it's talking to robots now. Still, And so your edge is a mix of what you're already great at and what the world actually needs, if you think of it like that.
Yeah, but to your point though, with leadership, it is going to be very, very pivotal and important for leaders to take that next step to understand the future of work, right? And what is the let's play on this call center role, right? If you are leading in a call center environment, what does that look like for your employees? Every single human wants to do something new, different, exciting, get them more money, take them on the next track in their career. But what can that look and feel like as AI continues to evolve? And in the leadership space, it's going to be upon you to kind of stay ahead. What does it look like? What are you talking about? What is the future of work? How are you going to continue to evolve as an organization? And bring others along as you do that. And then for the employees, it's like you said, understanding what's next for me. But you know what is missing, even in the midst of all of this, is going back traditional, just reading to fuel your knowledge. You know what I mean? We're quick to I don't discount videos. I watch them too. But even for myself, I'm challenging myself to read more, because that also helps with your critical thinking skills. If you really want to up your game and be competitive in this market, you got to up your skills, those soft skills to have that edge. And so, to kind of tie the loop even on this point, trying to chase the carrot, the AI carrot, not a bad thing, but it's being consciously aware of how it makes you feel. Does it make you feel overwhelmed? Are you still feeling stuck? Because if that is the case, you have to ask yourself, okay, what is it that I need to do that's going to help me evolve versus chasing that shiny carrot? How is it going to help me do better and be better?
Yeah. Yeah, you absolutely have to do that, because upskilling, it shouldn't be panic learning. We got
Right.
this panic
Right.
mode to learn. You have to choose what's actually going to help you grow, not just collect. Because I
Right.
know, like, I think it was reading where it said like half workers, they learn new skills, but how many actually use them?
Mm-hmm.
That's just like going to, going to college. Most people got degrees and things that they're not doing. And so if you think of it from that aspect, it's you want to learn, but you don't want to learn to prove something. You want to learn to grow into something, whatever that something
Oh, that's
is.
good. That was good.
You know,
Hit replay on that one. That was good. If you
you
need to
you
press
have
the pause button and go back and listen to that one again, that was good, girl.
yeah, you have to really learn like what you're going into this road, and it is going to take a little extra work right now, because
Mhm.
it's just something so new to a lot of people. You can't be fearful of it. It's already here. The
Right.
only way that
Absolutely.
you're not going to continue moving is if you stay still and you think that,
Mhm.
oh, this is just a fad, it's going to go away. No, it's not. It's been here for many years before it even became a thing. Let's be real. there's
Right.
there's like so many AI, like now it's AI consulting. I don't know if it's Google or Microsoft, but they're like, it's one of these Fortune 500 companies where they actually have a position for an AI consultant to come in and teach their team. It is a 700K. It's over $500,000 salary.
Well, wait a
Yes.
minute. Maybe I do need to take that course.
But even too, like, like the classes I've taken, like for business, and they've had people come in and they've talked about AI in general, how they went from marketing this way to they're shifting to AI. And so
Mhm.
that same mindset has to be in corporate and finance and tech. Understand, you're not going to be replaced, but
Right.
you have to get up to speed, for where we're
Mhm.
at.
And how to take what you know now and evolve into that next role,
Hmm.
the future of work, right? So
Hmm.
let's talk about, we use that example of calling in and talking to the robot, right? Don't you feel like it loses that human connection? Like
Yes.
you're not talking to a person and they're not being empathetic. Like I can call CVS to get a prescription and I'm like, oh, you can't understand that I really need this.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
there's an element there, especially in my generation, where we do yearn for that human touch. And so it begs the question of, how AI is so powerful right now, but there's still the need to maintain that human advantage, that humanistic edge, even in the midst of the AI evolution. So let's talk
Hmm.
about even how to balance that and how to set ourselves apart from a humanistic space, while evolving with AI.
Yeah. Yeah, because what you're talking about is our superpowers: empathy,
Mm-hmm,
emotional
mm-hmm.
intelligence, our energy. Can't no robot. I'm t- can't no robot. I don't care how they sit here and try to sit here and make these robots into. There's so much stuff where I've seen them even try to make robots into a companion. Listen, can no robot provide like empathy, energy, emotional
Hold
intelligence?
on,
Because that,
wait. Did you just say a
yes, I
companion?
did. Yes,
That
yes,
stuck me for a minute. Okay. I
yes,
don't know.
yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yep.
We might be in the last days, but I don't want the robot as my companion.
You know, no, I'm like, so you can agree with me all the time. So you can, it just, it's just it's those real superpowers that we naturally
Right.
have,
Yeah.
where we can feel things, where we can care about things, where we can lead from our heart. Let's just be real.
Right.
Leading
Yes.
leading from our heart. Those are things that AI can't, they're not going to be able to take away from any of us. And for you to sit there and say like how your generation yearns for that. Honestly, I feel like Gen Z yearn for it too. They never really
Yeah.
had the opportunity, to me, to that
Mm-hmm.
humanistic factor is missing, because I see so many
Yeah.
of them where even it comes to have just a normal conversation. Hey, how are you
Mm-hmm.
doing?
Right.
It was what's going on? How's your mom?
Mm-hmm.
When you're that human side of, when it comes to leading, like that interaction, it's not there. Those social skills, when it comes to that part, it's not there. And so instead of fighting against like tech, like these AI skills, they can't copy, they can't build trust, they can't inspire others, they can't have creative problem solve, like none of that stuff. And so if you lean into that and know like this is what's going to set me apart,
So
when
someone may try to counter you on that, Think
with the
about
what?
it. Think about how people are using AI as a coach now.
Oh yeah, they can
And people
coach.
are using AI to give them advice and
Mhm.
to pull in that emotional intelligence. Someone may try to counter that. I'm with you because I am 100%
Mhm.
in line with, while it can do all these good things and it might give me a tip or two, there's still the need to have that human element. And,
Yeah.
we shared the stat earlier around leaders looking for emotional intelligence in the people as they still evolve with AI. So I'm with you on that. But there will be some out there who say, well, why do I need a person? Why do I need
Mhm.
to hire an executive coach if I can use chat to be my executive coach?
And you know why? Because lived experience, learned experiences. AI takes everything from the internet. And so the learned
Mm-hmm.
experiences that can't be replicated or duplicated until it gets put into the whole ecosystem out there. Like it cannot. There are situations when it comes to me, when it comes to barriers, and I know we've had this offline conversation when it comes to systemic barriers that certain
Mm-hmm.
cultures go through. AI
Mm-hmm.
can't tell you how to navigate that.
Exactly.
It can give
Exactly.
you an idea of how to do it, but when you're in it and have to do it, that's where, yes, that is where you have an executive coach. That's when you have a leadership coach. That's where they come in to help you. Even Kobe Bryant, rest his soul, still had a coach as how great he was.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You're
So
right. It can't take away from those lived experiences. And, so if anybody's listening and trying to figure out, like, well, what do I do in this space? What do I do if they're taking everything away, or if I feel like I can get what I need just by chat? Here's the truth. I think we've said this in the last couple of minutes, is that while AI is a new tool in the workplace, it doesn't replace your thinking. You still need to build that muscle and be an effective thinker and be strategic in the work that you do. So, yes, AI supports you, but it cannot replace the human skills that are needed in the workplace.
yeah, and I would say that that's a very fine line too, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, like I feel, because I've become a little bit too dependent, my creative
Mm-hmm.
and my
Yes.
critical thinking, I feel like I said, am I getting, am I,
Right.
am I
It's
losing
like when the
my emotion?
calculator. It's like I can remember when I was a kid and my mom said, no, you're not using the calculator. You're going to do that math on the paper. Right. And because
Mhm,
it was intended to keep strengthening that muscle and not be so
mhm.
codependent on a tool that's there to help you be more efficient, but not overly dependent on it. And so I like that you said, you had to stop and press the pause button and like have some awareness, like, okay, what's happening right now? Am I not able to be
Mhm,
creative? Am I that
mhm.
dependent? Because I'm right with you. I have to check myself too. Like, wait, I think I am smarter than a fifth grader.
Yeah.
So let me not lose that skill set and become
No.
so codependent on technology.
Yeah. Yeah, because it could be because it is so good at it. We're going to tell it
Yeah.
is so good at it that you can easily slip into being very codependent on, well, all I got to do is put it in here. No, it should help you make your job easier. So the areas of your job that you need to be strategic, have some critical thinking, be a visionary, you have more
Mm-hmm.
space for that versus,
Right.
okay, now I gotta document this, now I gotta, those type of, those type of tasks that's in your day to day. That's what you want to use AI for, is to help make those more efficient, while
Mm-hmm.
that frees up that time so you can do things that really matter.
Yeah. So let's talk about how if someone's listening and they're like, okay, well, how do I make this practical? How do I go to work tomorrow and show up like, I got this AI thing and I'm not scared of it, right? Um, I'm going to lean in on this one with like data analytics, right? If you are
Mhm.
constantly in Excel, running numbers, doing things manually, I would challenge you to think about, okay, how could AI help me do this quicker, faster, better? And then position yourself to articulate your strategic thought around how you've shifted a manual process that took you 30 minutes that now takes you 10 minutes, right? And so, not necessarily taking away your job, but it's creating more space for you to do other things that are going to help you navigate your career and have that space to do so, right? And so, it's having the courage to be curious and get uncomfortable by not hoarding so much on that 30-minute manual Excel file that you've been doing for the last 5 years, and saying, okay, what can I do? How can I tap into this AI thing and be more strategic? Take off 20 minutes of this process that can free me up to do other things. So that's one example. I think we have to take the our level of confidence and curiosity and courage and combine those things so that we can rebuild the edge and evolve with AI. What are your thoughts on how to, make it practical and blend those things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would think about like a task that you're inconsistent on.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you are a leader that is listening, something that you're inconsistent on, and it just one thing. If it's at the beginning of the week, hey, I'm inconsistent on sending out my team a good morning. Like I'm spotty on that, because that's important. Your team feels
Mm-hmm.
seen for simple things like that, small gestures like that. If you're
Yeah.
inconsistent with that, okay, well, how can I use ChatGPT to send out a message to my team at 8 o'clock every single morning, letting them know, hey, good
Mm-hmm.
morning, how was your weekend? Now you've taken a task where you're not necessarily taking the emotion out of it. You're just making sure that you're showing up consistent when it comes to acknowledging and building that relationship with your team. Now they know on clockwork,
Mm-hmm.
oh, Candace, every single morning she sends us good morning, ask us how our weekend is doing. And that'll start the flow, because then that also too will get you in the flow of, engaging with them. But I think about that. And I would also to encourage you to think of one
Mm-hmm.
skill that AI could never replace in your current role.
Yeah.
Think about
That's
that
a
one.
heavy thought one.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, to think about that one skill that
Mm-hmm.
AI will never be able to replace. And honestly, you could start sharing that amongst each other with people, because people are probably afraid of even saying, like, I am scared of my job.
Yeah.
Now that it
Yes.
creates that space and goes back to what we were talking about earlier, that empathy, that emotional intelligence, like now you're creating conversation around it. And I feel like that also too is a missing
Absolutely.
piece, that organizations are not creating conversation around, like, okay, people are fearful that this may replace them.
Yes,
All
that's
right,
creating the psychological safety.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's fun as you were talking about, the leadership and the prompts, emails, and things like that. I'll tell you one thing that I am working on to try to get a little more in tune with is Microsoft Copilot. And Microsoft Copilot can do so many things. I think all of us, we can say our inbox is overflowing, right? And so it's like how to use these new tools that are going to help us be more efficient in our day to day. And so I like how you say creating community, talking about it, having the psychological safety that can lead to conversations that will help someone, learn something new, experiment, fail fast, and get back up and try something new, be iterative, be agile, and learn how to evolve in this space without fear, without feeling left behind or stuck, and that you won't make it in this new era with AI. So I know we're right at time, and we do like to close out each lighting the torch fireside chat um, with a tip. But before we segue into that, Candace, anything else you want to hit on?
No. Well, yeah.
She said, well,
Like, no,
yeah.
and yeah. No, and then there's like if you're feeling any kind of way and you feel like you do want to get an edge and you do want to, tap into AI, but you don't know where to start, I believe Google has a lot of free courses right now that you're able to
Mhm.
actually go and to utilize those courses just so you can get a foundational mindset, like perspective of, okay, how is AI impacting? Okay,
Yeah.
how can I use this that I just learned? And then once you learn and do those courses, actually implement it.
Mhm.
That's the
Mhm.
thing, like that's the difference between what the type of learning courses that we are used to doing, but we got to do it just because they make us do it and we don't
Yeah.
implement it. This one,
Mhm.
you need to start implementing it and getting comfortable with it and just do that one. Don't try
Yeah.
to do 100 million of them. I know I do that sometimes where I'm like, "Ooh, I got this, I got this. Ooh, 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 ooh." It's like I'm like a kid in a candy store, like, "Ooh, all this candy!" Like, but just do it,
Ah,
doing it one at a time. But I
bite
know this is
size.
I know this is the end, so I'll go ahead and start us off with
Mhm.
lighting the torch. So what we do is we light the torch from generation to generation, light it up, light it down. And so for me, I've been writing my stuff down now. AI might change your tools, but it can't touch your touch. The goal isn't to
Mm.
compete with AI, it's to amplify your authenticity. And I want to be emphasis on to amplify your authenticity.
Yeah.
That's for
Yeah,
me.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. It's important to be authentic. And I think that it ties in real well with my lighting the torch. And like you, because my generation is a little up there, I have to keep my notes as well. Um, but what I want to tell everyone is the the corporate spaces are all about upskilling right now and looking at skills development and what core skills do you need to evolve. And what I would share is that your edge isn't just a skill set, it is a mindset. And so think about the courage that you have, the courage that you'll need to adapt, to stay curious, and to simply remember that growth isn't just about speed, it's about staying true while everything around you starts to shift. So maintain that authenticity, maintain who you are at your core so that you can continue to evolve and adapt. And as we close out, we want to remind you that we host this fireside chat once a month, typically every third Thursday of the month, unless something is going on in life is life. But you'll see us every third Thursday. And you can find us on YouTube. You can find us on LinkedIn. You can find us on Facebook, almost anywhere. Look at our channels, our handles there. And we want you to keep up. We share this because we want you to keep up. We want to continue lighting each other's torch from generation to generation. My name is Cynthia Haley. And as you can see, I go by Tip Energy Coach, CEO, Chief Energy Officer of Transition to Infinite Possibilities, where I coach career professionals looking to elevate their energy as well as elevate in their careers. And shameless plug, I'm doing a lot right now with Interview Power Hour. And so if you're in the market to interview, let's connect. Candace?
Hi, y'all. Look, my name, my name is Candace Miles, but I go by Coach C, and I am the CEO. And I like to say I am the head GPS for No God Consulting, where I am helping first-time leaders close the gap between who they are and how they show up. I give them the tools when it comes to embracing their culture, to leadership skills, to leading behind that driver's seat with confidence. I am also to representing the millennials. So I know we're at the end of this chat, but y'all go ahead and put that peace sign in there at the end of this chat as we end it out for all my millennials.
I love it. I love when you do that. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I know we're a little bit over. We appreciate you hanging in there with us, and we hope to see you next time.
Uh-oh.